message a host of Democratic organizing groups has for donors and activists. Election officials are still counting votes in a handful of midterm races, but the House Democrats' main path is already gearing up to retake the House in 2024, creating a plan to win back seats in places like California and New York. And it isn't alone. Leaders from 3 groups focused on down-ballot races, you have Arena, Run for Something, and Sister District, all of which were founded in the wake of Donald Trump's 2016 elections, have told their members that the fight to build on their wins from the midterms needs to begin immediately in both state level and district level races. And one of those district level wins caught our attention. 23-year-old Nabila Sayed defeated the Republican incumbent in Illinois' 51st district, making her one of the youngest members of the Illinois General Assembly and among the first Muslims elected to the state legislature. And joining me now is Illinois State Representative herself, Representative-elect, I'm just so excited, Nabila Sayed. It is so great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, Representative-elect Sayed, now that you've had a couple of weeks, to ponder and to think about what just happened, and what do you contribute the success of your campaign to?
I think it very much comes down to the face-to-face interactions we've had with hundreds and thousands of voters in this community. I myself knocked on 20,000 doors. Our team has knocked on over 55,000 doors, because it is so critical for people, for campaigns and candidates to give people a reason to vote and to give them hope in issues that they care about and a promise to fight for them. And I think that's what we did when we showed up at people's doorsteps. So it has been surreal these past few weeks to see that we actually did it. We flipped a Republican-held seat, a district that was not drawn for a Democrat, and it comes down to the ground game, to knock down the doors.
So tell me about those conversations that you were having while you were knocking on those doors, right? Because as you said, you were talking to white suburban voters, you were talking to independent voters, you were talking to Republicans, perhaps many of whom had never seen someone like you facing them, right? Telling them that you would be empowered to represent them. So what were those conversations like, and how would that help you as you're empowered?
Yeah, it is so important to remember that there are many people in the community that have never interacted with someone like me. They've never talked to a hijab-wearing Muslim. They've never talked to someone who's 23 years old but looking to run for office. And having that conversation about what issues are most affecting them, matter most to them, that are keeping them up at night, proved to break down many barriers. People were much more open to conversing with me. People felt comfortable in the conversations, not just with me, but with our entire team. And it was incredible to see how just asking a very simple question and genuinely wanting to hear someone's answer and reflect on that answer and engage in a meaningful conversation could make all the difference. Because I had folks that were coming up to me on election day at the polling location saying that they had never voted for a Democrat in their entire life, but somehow they decided to vote for me. And I was the only Democrat on their ballot that they were voting for. And I reflect on that, and I'm like, the one Democrat that they chose to vote for is a 23-year-old Indian American Muslim hijab-wearing woman.
What does that say?
That just goes to show that the importance of that face-to-face conversation, of actually creating bridges in the community, and talking to people goes a long way. And it's easy to say that someone like me could not win in a Republican district, but at the end of the day, we proved many people wrong, and I'm hoping that this could serve as an inspiration and as an example for people to invest in younger candidates, invest in people of color, and don't just shut them down from the political process because they're not quote-unquote electable. They are electable if we invest money, if we invest time, and if we invest the energy to make them electable.
They're electable and you're on your way to govern. What are some of your priorities as you're looking at the future? And then also, as you may have heard, there's so many Democrats that are already thinking about 2024, knowing how to get young people engaged, how to get young people like you in power. What advice would you give them?
It is very easy to be cynical about politics, and unfortunately we're seeing that's the case with many voters in our community. People are very much turned off by politics, but there is a way to go to a door and give people hope and give them excitement about politics that we've frankly been missing a little bit with all the political advertising, the negative campaigning, but I think that's what we were able to do throughout our race, and I'm excited to see, in this upcoming election, what people come up with to give people hope and give people reasons to turn out. It is so easy to look at young voters and say, you're lazy, you don't turn out, but we need to be continually providing young voters with a reason to turn out and make promises, but also deliver on those promises. And I think that will very much help with not just turn out for young people, but turn out up and down the ballot.
Well, congratulations to you. We will all be looking at you to see everything that you do and how you pave the road for future generations. So thank you so much, Illinois State Representative-elect Nabila Sayed. Joining me now is my Saturday night